Let's go to Washington. New York. Yes, keep the Washington January 20 inauguration in my head. New York is where we're going, sorry, about the U.S. stocks index. No one knows why the Dow's going one day in, the other day out of the 20,000 psychological level. This is what the futures look like about an hour and a half ago. 0.04 in the green. Data since turned red as I'm looking at it. Minus 0.01%. That's the stocks futures for the Dow Industrials. The S&P 500 futures 2265, 0.02% in the green. Data since change, shaving off a little bit. The Nasdaq futures 5,050.23. That has also shaved off a little bit to 0.03%. In the green, however, but there will be a lot of data today, Tuesday. We'll see the NFIB's small business survey results for December last year. That will be at 6 a.m. Eastern. That should be out on the street as we speak. Wholesale trade and job openings and labor turnover survey for November will be out at 10 a.m. Eastern. On the earnings front, we're expecting Cinex to report after Wall Street closed about 3:30 on Wall Street at about 9:30 Nigerian time, in case you're watching television at that time. Asian markets were under pressure today. It's evening time already as investor sentiment soured after the Dow retreated further from the 20,000 mark and oil prices plunged as much as 4% overnight. The Japanese benchmark Nikkei 225 down about 0.75%, falling sharply in afternoon trade after the yen strengthened against the dollar, touching lows of 115.18 earlier in the day. The Australian ASX 200 was down about 1%, seeing broad losses across all sub-indices except for gold, which was up 1.43%. Silver is down today about 0.1%. Crude oil a little bit 0.2%, and gold down about less than a 0.25%. In China, the mainland shares were lower. The Shanghai Composite down about 0.29%. The Shenzhen slipped about 0.24%, and Hang Seng in Hong Kong was in the green, a green shoot there, about 0.5%. 3:30 local time, of course, this evening time, about 7 p.m. in Tokyo. Look at the intraday here in Nigeria for the fixed income investors. The Nigeria debt market a little bit downbeat on Monday, starting the brand new week as treasury bills were on a bearish note, and that same sentiments dominated the bonds market as the naira end of it, average yield expanding about 6 basis points to 16.8. Let's get a sense of the market trend this Tuesday. Ekele Onuoha is a fixed income dealer at Diamond Bank, one of Nigeria's listed lender here on our market. Good afternoon. It's good to see you. Good to have you on the program.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. What's the sentiment today as far as the fixed income is concerned? A bit of a bearish sentiment to start the week on Monday.
Okay, just as you said, we've actually experienced a bearish trend today in continuation of what we've seen all throughout the week. However, what actually happened yesterday was that the CBN came up with OMO, of which they sold 222 billion, 22 billion of the June maturity and 200 billion of the November maturity. So as such, that was why we saw a kind of bearish trend at the very short end of the yield curve. You know, investors are also trying to align with the CBN body language of trying to borrow at the medium to long tenor.
So 16.8% where the secondary transactions were yesterday. Was that the around the band that the financial regulator issued these 222 billion new papers?
Actually, you know, just as I said, they came out at the yield came out at 18 levels, of which what we are seeing today is market at the long end is currently trading at 18.3%, which doesn't really reflect so much of what the CBN did yesterday. It's just strictly the secondary OTC market trades.
Okay. Thank you very much for bringing that into us. Ekele Onuoha, fixed income dealer at Diamond Bank.